Hey, you guys, welcome to week 4. The topic of our talk this week, our educational talk, is going to be healthy thoughts and healthy fats. So, what we're going to cover today is we're going to talk a little bit about how your thoughts and words affect your health, and we will also talk about healthy fats and their impact on your overall health as well. So, each time I do one of these presentations, I always start it off with a little bit of mindfulness, and I always go back to that why. The my why is so important, because if you don't have this written down, and honestly, it shouldn't even change from week to week. Some of you have been doing your weekly goal sheets, and you do change it up a little bit. But what I can tell, there's always an underlying theme. So if you're having trouble figuring out your why, a good question to ask yourself is, what do you value? A lot of you have said, you value your health, you value your quality of life, you don't want to take a lot of medicines. You want to continue doing the things that you enjoy and the things that you love. So continue to ask yourself why. So, for example, I'll just use a basic one. If you say, okay, well, why are you doing this program, or why are you working with Angela? Well, I want to lose weight. Why? Someone might say, well, you know what? I'm sick of every morning when I get up, standing in my closet, trying to figure out what I'm going to wear, because a lot of my clothes don't fit me anymore. And you can kind of keep building on that. So maybe it's just not about the clothes, but it's how I feel about myself. And, I haven't felt very good about myself, and it's affecting relationships. I mean, you can really take that why and run with it. The more you ask why, the deeper of a why you'll get, and the deeper it'll become. And then that's really going to be your driving force in making these changes. So I just challenge you to explore that a little bit further. So if your why is just, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to be healthy, really keep asking yourself why, to dig a little bit deeper, to really have a good understanding of why you're making the changes that you're making. 2 weeks ago, when I made the presentation, we talked a little bit about taking action. And the A was accepting thoughts and feelings. The C was connecting with your values in the present moment. And the T was taking effective action. Today, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the A. The connect with the values in the present moment, that's your why. And taking effective action, that's a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about in our one-on-one calls, or some of the feedback that I've been giving you, like, okay, it's more beneficial to take a walk than it is to eat, 10 pieces of candy. So what I really think we haven't had enough time to talk about, and honestly, I don't even know that I'm 100% qualified to dive into this too deep. So I'm just going to kind of scratch the surface of it to give you something to think about. Oftentimes, we're willing to live in the moment. We're willing to be mindful until the going gets tough. So I just think this is kind of a funny little saying. Today I will live in the moment unless it's unpleasant, and then I will have a cookie. So it just kind of shows us how, even though this is kind of silly and funny, a lot of our thoughts and a lot of our experiences in life do affect our food choices. So I want to talk a little bit about thoughts and words. And what's important to remember throughout all of this is what you think about comes about. So if you're constantly having negative thoughts and you have this script or this story going on in your head, well, I'm not good enough, or I am not smart enough, or I can't do this. Oftentimes, like I said, what you think about comes about. So, for example, you could take a thought that you have, and let's just start with something basic. I'll never be, and then we can fill in the blank. So I'm just going to do kind of a silly one. I'll never be a professional football player. And maybe that's something that's really upsetting to me. So I could reframe that by saying, well, I'm having the thought. I can see, I'm having the thought that I'll never be a professional football player. And then I'm observing myself having the thought that I'll never be a professional football player. It's almost like you're distancing yourself from the thought a little bit. So let's take that a little bit to a different level. I'll never be able to lose weight. So this is sometimes a script that people have. Like, I've tried things in the past. I've never been able to lose weight. I've never been able to keep it off. They have this script going at each meal, day after day. And this thought is just always in their head. You can take one step away from that thought by just saying, I'm having the thought that I'll never be able to lose weight. So that seems a little bit, I guess, not so hurtful maybe. And then taking a step further away from that thought, I'm observing myself having the thought that I'll never be able to lose weight. Like, oh, that's interesting. I'm having that thought. Why does that thought keep popping up? So kind of think, you can do this in your head. You don't have to share this with me, but kind of think of some of those scripts or those stories that are running through your head. And I would challenge you to think of it like this. Again, I'm not a therapist. This is not necessarily my area of expertise, but I want you to kind of reframe it. Which do you think is easier? To let this little beach ball float around in the pool with you? Or do you think it's easier to take a ball and try to hold it underwater at all times? Where I'm going with this is a lot of our thoughts we're constantly fighting and struggling with, whether it's something that happened in our past that we're constantly dealing with, something that we were told as a child that we're constantly dealing with. And to constantly fight with that, it makes it hard to live life. If all we're doing is focusing on these feelings, and think of yourself in water trying to hold a ball under, but you still need to swim and stay afloat to do all the other things you need to do in life, it becomes nearly impossible. But think about it if you are aware that those thoughts are there, that maybe what happened to you when you were younger or something that somebody said to you that kind of changed that script in your head to a more negative script. Let's just say you still know it's there, you're observant of it, but you just let it float. You don't fight with it constantly. You don't let it pull you down, or in this case, you don't have to be pushing it down or pushing it away. You just let it float. You know that it's there, but you go on living your life. So what I'm saying is these thoughts may not necessarily go away completely, but we can change how we interact with these thoughts. So that's what I wanted you to kind of think about today is, do you have any thoughts? Do you have a script or a story in your head that's keeping you from getting to where you want to be, or keeping you from really realizing what your why is and how you can accomplish your goals? And this could be anything in life, not just food, but I see it very, very commonly in people that I work with, because they have these negative stories about themselves in their heads that they can't do this, they can't do that, it's never worked before, and it won't work now. So I think we've identified that food can equal feelings and feelings can equal food. So what we focused on there was feelings, the thoughts and stuff in our head. Sometimes we treat them with food. And sometimes when we eat certain foods, certain feelings come up. And this is just part of what happens with the brain. This isn't a good or bad thing necessarily, but again, you just want to be able to step back, observe your thoughts and your feelings around food and what you're experiencing, and try to live in that present moment. The definition of mindlessness is living in the past and worrying about the future. We talked a little bit about that 2 weeks ago. So we really want to focus on the moment, focus on the now, and focus on what we can do healthy for our bodies. So the food topic for today is going to be healthy fats. One reason I picked to put healthy fats and healthy brain or healthy thoughts together is that actually a lot of these foods that you see on the screen here, your nuts, your seeds, your avocados, these are anti-inflammatory foods, and these have a really great effect on the brain. When we eat these on a regular basis, inflammation decreases, we can think more clearly, our body functions better. So fats are a really important part of our diet. So my challenge to you is to really pay attention to what's in your fridge. Are you constantly buying low-fat, fat-free stuff? If you are, a lot of times when they take fat out of different foods, they're putting in either less healthy fats, or usually what they're actually putting in is sugar or salt to take the place of that. So even though nuts and seeds, if you read the food label, they have higher calorie content, we learned a couple weeks ago about our gut bacteria. And one thing that I think it's really important that you understand is your gut bacteria regulates how your body processes calories. And what's so cool is if your gut bacteria is in balance and it's flourishing and it's where it needs to be, if you ate excessive calories from high quality, healthy fats or healthy foods, and let's say you had 800 calories of all these healthy foods, and your friend next to you didn't have the same quality gut bacteria that you have, and they ate 800 calories of these foods, their body might actually absorb more of those calories than you do. So one of the reasons why I don't have anybody counting calories or focusing too much on that is because everybody's body reacts differently to the calories and the energy levels going in. Now, every now and then we might raise awareness about, hey, that might not be the healthiest thing to be doing for your body. And gosh, when you have this, you're putting an extra 500 calories in or an extra 1,000 calories in. So sometimes we use that to raise awareness, and the food labels are nice, but they're not the end all be all. What I hope you've taken away in this first half of the challenge is that the closer the food is to nature, the healthier it is for your body, the better your body is going to respond, and the better your gut bacteria is going to be. Okay, I am very aware that this is some craziness in front of you on the screen. So I'm going to walk you through it, but I wanted to kind of show you this because I think it's probably the best picture of fats and oils that I've seen. And I love how this guy breaks everything down. So look first at this line that goes across the screen that separates the top from the bottom. Over here on the left, you'll see the word salads. In the middle, you'll see the word baking. And over here to the right, you see the word stir fry. So basically what we're looking at from left to right is the oils that are over here. These oils do not have a very, they can't tolerate heat very well. So you'll notice that these are better to be mixed with, into dressings, or made into dressings. So that's why they're over here with salads. And then over here, stir fry, these can tolerate a little bit higher cooking temperature. So you see here, less temperature sensitive. Down here is our border color. So what we're looking for are oils that have circles around them that are either green or blue, because they're either high in omega-3 fatty acids or they're high in monounsaturated fats. And these are the things that are healthy for your body. Things that tend to be less healthy in general are saturated fats. And that's not always entirely true, but in general, saturated fats and trans fats are always unhealthy for the body. Omega-6s, not always healthy for the body. So those are going to be in red. So things in gold and red, you want to kind of avoid. And if it's got a gray circle around it, it's neutral. So I'm not going to take you through every single one of these, but I do want to raise awareness about first butter. So depending on how the butter is made, if it's organic butter, it's not highly processed, it's going to be slightly healthier, particularly if it's grass-fed versus grain-fed. But again, you kind of have to make sure you're buying very high quality butter. The other one I want to point out is coconut oil. So notice there's hydrogenated coconut oil down here. So this is a very low quality oil that is not considered healthy. If you wanted to have a little bit healthier of a coconut oil that has the actual good saturated fats in it, you want to make sure you buy it virgin and unrefined. So I know this can be really confusing. So coconut oil, you thought it was the end all be all. You're putting it in your coffee, you're drinking it, you're rubbing it on your body. It's not super healthy, but it's not super unhealthy. It's kind of a neutral oil in my opinion. A lot of times people just want to use it for the flavor. So what we want to stick to is olive oil. So this is one of our healthy oils. It's low in omega-6s. And high in things that decrease inflammation in your body. So olive oil would be considered one of our healthier oils, and it, it's good for like sauteing. If you're going to be frying something, something with a little higher heat, maybe a sunflower oil, or a peanut oil or something of that nature. Even avocado oil would be fine as well. So that's all I'm going to say here. If anybody feels the need to study this in a lot of detail, you could either take a picture on your phone right now so you had it, or I can also send you the link if you feel the need to print it off, if you have a color printer available to you. So, all right. That is all we're going to talk about today. Just reminding you that what you think about comes about, and you get what you decide. So if you've decided that what your why is strong enough, and you've decided that you're going for it and you're going to be healthier, or you're going to get back to a weight that you feel comfortable at, if you've decided that it is time for you to change, you know what? I bet you're going to get what you decide, because what you think about comes about. Don't forget that. Have a great rest of your week, and remember to schedule your 15-minute check-in sessions with me for next week, the week of the 12th. And if you have any questions or concerns before then, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.